Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And in today's video, I am continuing my list of top 100 favorite albums all time. This time I'm doing number 40 on my list, so we're getting to my top 40 favorite albums. And this album is called Anatomy of the Tongue and Cheek by the Christian rock band Relient K. So stay tuned and hear my thoughts on this album here on Jason the Old Millennial. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well on this Wednesday afternoon. This is probably saw this is my second video I'm making today. Trying to catch up on a lot of things I haven't done lately. One of them is my top 100 favorite albums, which I've been doing for the last year. I am now up to number 40 on my list. I feel like it's been a couple weeks since I did my last video. I definitely want to continue and try to finish out this series. Probably not this year, but definitely next year. Finish out my top 100 favorite albums list. This one is definitely a more obscure album and band, and one is more a niche, I guess you can say, as it is a Christian rock. It's described as Christian pop punk, actually, which is a very interesting genre of music, I guess you don't hear very often. But the name of the band is Relient K, which was a very popular Christian rock band of the 2000s. This album came in 2001, in fact. Which was like my junior year in high school. And I have a little bit of interesting history with Relient K and this album. And since that, I listen to some Christian rock and some Christian artists here and there, though I'm not like a big listener of Christian rock necessarily, though there's a couple that are on my list of top 100 favorite albums. This is one of them. I don't know why I haven't got quite into that genre of music as much, even though I am a Christian and I've been around other Christians who love this kind of music. And that's where I've kind of heard about a lot of this type of music, and definitely a genre I need to actually delve more into. Actually, probably some point I will try to delve more into Christian bands and some of their albums anyways, but definitely a genre that I'm not as keen on, I guess, as some other genres. But saying that, so when I never really knew this band or this album when it came out. I wasn't really in tune with, I guess, current Christian rock music at the time. But it wasn't until my freshman year in college, which was 2002, 2003, I went to a Christian college called Grace University in Omaha, Nebraska, and my freshman year. And it was like very soon in the month of August, September, or whatever. It was pretty early into the school year. What I remember that maybe it was, I don't know, what do you call it, Labor Day or whatever, that came around that time. I remember seeing a advertisement for they were going to have some Christian rock bands play at like this church nearby for free. And if you're, it was advertised to, I don't know, to the students, I guess, at Grace University. And it was this a big church that I think was nearby in Omaha to the college. And, they had a fairly good size, area and stage. I mean, it's not a huge venue, of course, or anything like that, but big enough, I guess, they could have college students come in and they're going to have some Christian rock bands play. And I didn't really know any of the Christian rock bands. The headliner was Relient K, which I was not aware of anything about Relient K. Never heard of them. But, it was for free. I think it was on the weekend. I wasn't working. Didn't want to do any schoolwork. Just started the school year, basically. And didn't know anything, but, people were going to it. So, of course, you're like, yeah, I'll go see a free rock concert. Why not? And I kind of remember, because I didn't have a car at the time, and so I really had no way of getting there except that people kind of piled up in cars and kind of carpooled there. And so I just kind of jumped into somebody's car, and we piled, it was like a car fit for 5 people, and we probably fit like 8 people in that car. We just shoved everybody into this small car or whatever. Not small, but small enough that we were pretty sitting on each other's laps and so forth, as you do in college. Not exactly the safest way of driving, but it wasn't a very far drive, if I remember right. And so I got in a car, and we drove down to this church, and there was no seating. It was all standing. It was kind of like an auditorium kind of thing where there's a stage, and you can just so you stand wherever you want and whatnot. Anyway, so I went and wasn't sure what to expect. And there was like 5 bands or something like that. So it took a while before we got to Relient K, which was kind of the headliner. And I was fairly close to the stage, because I like music. I like watching rock music. And so I get some joy out of just watching the people play the songs. And I like playing guitar myself. So I enjoy watching guitar players play. It fascinates me. And just listen to live music could just be enjoyable. So I was listening there, and it's like the music wasn't like the greatest. It was just like okay. And then here comes Relient K. You can tell they definitely were the biggest act as they came out, and man, they really were energetic and just fun on stage. And they opened up the concert, if I remember right, with Sadie Hawkins dance, or yeah, Sadie Hawkins, which is like probably the biggest song they're most well known for. And they start off with the Sadie Hawkins, and I'm just like, I'm really into the song. The guitars are really great guitar riffs and great vocals, and it's kind of a humor song. Great chorus, and I'll talk about the song here in a little bit. And I was just like really hooked in. I'm like, wow, this is really good. And then I'm listening to them every song. I'm like, wow, this is a really good song. And I was just like, wow, I was really into this band, and it was so fun watching them live there. And they ended up their concert with a song called "Pressing On," which is another like one of their best songs. Which I'm like, wow, it was such a great opener and closer to a concert that I've ever kind of seen. If you want to call it a concert, it's not your usual concert kind of setting, but anyways, that was the first time I saw them, and I was like, wow, I really enjoyed their music. And I was asking like, who's this Relient K? I need to get this album. And I think somebody had their album, so I borrowed it and listened to it, and I was like, this is a great album. I never owned it except for just listening it to my friend's album of this Anatomy of Tongue in Cheek. Anyways, that's the whole story behind how I got in. How I probably would never put this album on my list or know anything about him except for that experience I had in college. And so I have some nostalgia for this album, I guess. And that's partly why it's more of a personal album, I guess, that most people aren't going to have on their list. In fact, I doubt anybody will have this on their list of top 100 favorite albums. But my personal list, it makes it on there. I have a little bit of history on it. But it is a really great album. I've listened to it, of course, recently. I bought it. I showed it in my new media pickups. I just bought it recently to listen to it again. There's the band there. The lead singer there. It's kind of a simple album cover, not much to it, just showing the band, and it even has the songs up here. Interesting enough, it even has number 2 because it's their second album, so they have the number 2 there. And then the back just has the songs. Like they really went with orange, which I kind of like this orange and white that they went with. Kind of a cool color scheme. But anyway, so this album I bought recently of theirs, which I never actually owned physical media of. I've just listened on Spotify and stuff recently, but anyway, still holds up. Is a really great album. Of course, it's number 40, pretty high on my list. And I don't usually talk about pop punk music, but I would say they kind of remind me of like a Blink-182, which was really popular back in the 90s when I was growing up. And maybe Jimmy Eat World is maybe another band that kind of reminds me of, has a punk sound to it, but there's a little bit of more catchy poppiness to it. They're like, of course, this is also has the Christian element. And of course, obviously Christian, if you put that in there, it's definitely very niche audience, people that like Christian music. But I would say, I think even if you're not a Christian or you don't listen to Christian music, it's still a very enjoyable album, just because of the music itself is very fun and a lot of great guitar riffs, like I said, and it really make it stand out. And the vocals and everything is just really great if you like that type of music. And like I don't usually listen to that type of music, but yeah, I find myself really enjoying this album. So if you do it well, I guess I'll enjoy it. And saying it's Christian, it's interesting their type of music because, of course, when you talk about Christian, sometimes it's more worship. Some albums are just all worship songs, which is all, great, worshiping God and Jesus and like that. I tend to go more towards the Christian music that's not all worship music, but it's a little just regular, almost more positive sounding music, I guess I would say. I would say this for the most part is more a combination of maybe, positivity, thanking, and also there's a lot of humor, which I really love about this album is they put a lot of humor into their songs, put in a lot of them that make them really enjoyable. And there are a couple of more worship songs or songs about, the Christian religion that are in there too. A couple ballads, I would say, in there. Most of them are, like I said, pop, punk, rock music. A couple ballads that really work well, but even those are very enjoyable to listen to for me anyway. So I highly recommend this to anybody, even if you aren't a Christian. I think it's a very enjoyable rock album if you like that kind of stuff. The band, if you don't know, the lead singer, Matt Thiessen, he also plays lead guitar and also plays some piano. Matt Hoops plays guitar. Brian Pittman plays bass, and Dave Douglas plays the drums on the band. And I don't know a lot about the history of the band because I've listened to some of their other albums. They're not nearly as good as this one. This definitely, from what I've heard of them, is a standout album from their discography. And I don't know if they made anything recently. I haven't really kept up on them, which is too bad because I said this is such a good album. I'd love to hear some more good music from them, which, again, maybe I need to go back and re-listen to some more of their albums and dive more into some of these Christian rock bands because I do enjoy some of the work. Anyway, so I'll get to my top 3 songs on this album. Number 3 is a song called Down in Flames. Just really, yeah, again, great rock, starting with these great rock guitar riffs and throughout. And it's kind of a song about the Christian religion and Christians going, kind of arguing with each other. And it's about the state of the church, I think, a little bit. And there's somewhat of a downfall because Christians are attacking each other instead of being united together. And so it's kind of the song, and it kind of uses an analogy. It's like a plane going down in flames. Anyway, so the whole chorus is, we're going down, down in flames. Bum, 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 bum. Anyways, it's really catchy chorus to it. Great. But yeah, so it's kind of about the Christian religion, but more of like a criticism somewhat of it. And I even enjoy at the end of the song, he repeats this line about, I know, I'm talking about, criticizing, Christian religion, which I'm part of, and I'll confess I'm part of the problem, but I still have to get this off my chest. I'm paraphrasing the lyrics. I don't have them in front of me, but he says something to that extent of like, I'm part of the problem, I must confess, but I got to get this off my chest. Let's stop blaming each other. And if we keep blaming each other, we're going to go down in flames. It's basically like the lines at the end, which I really enjoyed, that he kind of confesses that, he's not perfect either, even though he's criticizing other people, but he still feels like he has to get that out there, that we need to do something. Anyway, so that's number 3, Down in Flames. Very good song. Number 2 is Pressing On. Man, I think it might be even the first. Yeah, the very first song is Pressing On. Great opener to the album. Really kicks it off. Again, it's more of a positive song, I would say. Of course, as you can tell from the title, Pressing On, you got to keep pressing on. The let go of the past kind of idea. And just kind of positive thinking towards the future, I guess. Keep pressing on. Anyway, so it's a good, lyrically, very good, inspirational lyrics, I think, or I don't know if that's the right word, but uplifting, I guess, is maybe the right word. Very uplifting kind of lyrics and very good message behind it, I guess I want to say. And just, yeah, absolutely, just amazingly catchy pop punk song that you'll get in your head and you'll just keep singing anyway. So I really love that one. And then number 1, like I said before, Sadie Hawkins, Dance. Yeah, I forgot the dance part there. Sadie Hawkins Dance is the name of the, that's kind of the song I think they're most known for on the Christian radio. In fact, it really has nothing to do with Christianity, again, which I like, that not every song has to do with necessarily worshiping God, though that's a good thing. Of course, if you know, Sadie Hawkins Dance is a dance where the girl asks the guys out instead of the guys asking girls out to the dance. That's the whole thing behind it. So it's kind of tells a story about, I guess about him maybe as like this, teenager in high school maybe that, wants to go to the dance, but he has to wait for a girl to ask him. And so it kind of goes through his day at school as he's kind of, striking out on all these girls, trying to get a girl to ask him. Anyway, so, very funny lyrics. So I absolutely love the lyrics of the song, and it's very catchy again. And the chorus is one of the best catchy, like, pop punk sounds I've ever heard. Sadie Hawkins dance, In My Khaki Pants, Nothing Better, which I love because you wore khaki pants to the dance when you're, a teenager. It's very on. Girls Ask the Guys, Always a Surprise, Nothing's Better, Do You Like My Sweater is kind of the chorus, which is kind of interesting chorus. But yeah, that's kind of talks about the innocence of like being a teenager and just wanting to go to the dance and everything, and kind of paints that picture. I love, my favorite line from it is, he goes, I went to the cafeteria to find some good eating. I found something about seating, and by the cheerleader. No, I think I went to the cafeteria to find the seating. I found a good place where the cheerleaders were eating. The quarterback asked me, would I like a beating? And I told him that's one thing I won't be needing. Anyways, I just love that whole course, or that whole verse, and how he rhymed seating, eating, beating, and kneading in there, and kind of paints a kind of funny picture of wanted to sit by the cheerleaders, but then of course, probably not so politely, was asked to leave by the jocks, and would you like a beating? It's a very polite way of saying, yeah, they probably threatened to beat him up, and he had to leave. So I thought that was very funny lyrics, and that's kind of throughout the song, anyways, and it makes it a really fun song, and one of my favorite of theirs, anyways, and my favorite on the album. And I think it's worth a listen just for that song. Sadie Hawkins dance. If anybody remembers those days when you had those, I don't know if they still have them, but those are always fun times. Anyways, thinking back on school days. Anyway, so yeah, that's my number one, Sadie Hawkins dance. All three great songs. Overall, just every song works. I don't think there's a bad song on this album. Just a really fun, upbeat, for the most part, album that I think most people will enjoy if you like this type of music. Anyway, so that's Anatomy of the Tongue Cheek, which is a very interesting name for album title. I kind of like that title anyways. All their album titles are actually pretty interesting. I think they are very creative with their titling. But yeah, so that's Relient K. Came out 2001. Number 40 on my list. So please tell me if you've heard this album or if you know any of this music. I have a feeling most of you haven't, but still, if you have, love to hear anybody else's thoughts on it. And yeah, I'd love for anybody to try this out and tell me what they think. Go out of their box, I guess, and listen to something a little different. But yeah, so anyways, comment, and just thank you for watching this video. Thank you for liking it, and just thank you to all the subscribers for supporting the channel. I really appreciate you all, and I hope you have a nice day.